Hello everyone, JL Wasabi here. Today we are doing a quick video as Moddog had dropped the rundown video for patch 14.3. While the final patch update tomorrow may not be the exact same one, it will generally be what is stated here. However, I do already see many online posts regarding Vex's buff, so if we are lucky, they might take that out. Before we begin, I would just like to say that it would be really helpful for small content creators like us if you can like the video and help to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Thank you so much, and let's get right into it. So first up is systems. Lots of new hacks. Carousel, there will be a Tome of Trades carousel. So if for those who have not seen a Tome of Trade before, when you open this Tome of Trade, there will be 4 emblems being provided to you to choose from. So for this, they will follow the new rules instead of last time where you can actually tailor the emblems to appear. So there'll be a 25% chance now of any trade appearing, and these trades actually come from the active trades on your board, if I believe so. There's also a 2-star carousel where all the units on it are all 2-star. Of course, they'll all be of the same cost. There'll also be a too many unit carousel where I believe from what I heard on the video, it will be a 15 units on the carousel for you to choose from. So I think it will be quite funny to see. There's also an all 3-cost carousel as well as an all 4-cost carousel. So in view of the Tome of Trades carousel, the Spat and Pen carousel has also been removed. So I think this is to reduce some of the variance, but I'm not too sure if the Tome of Trades carousel will actually appear together with the Emblems Golem portal. So I think that one is to be seen, but I doubt so because it would be too chaotic if that were to happen. So there's also a Deja Vu PvE round where your PvE round will occur again. So you technically have 2 consecutive PvE rounds for that game. Lots of new hacks. Hack ops. So there will be a bag of gold consumable that can be used on the champion to gain 4 gold, which increases by 1 each combat if you do not use it. So this one, I think, usually you try to keep it until you really need the gold or when you're about to die. Yeah. Salvager, a consumable. So use on the champ to remove all the items and to break them down into components. So this probably acts like a salvage bin. Yeah, but it's a consumable. You can only do it once. Implant size, used on a champ to permanently give 350 HP and 20% size. Speed implant, used on champ to permanently give 20% AS and strength. So it's a bit like your mittens. Starter kits for stage 1, you'll gain a 1, 2, and 3 cost with a shared trait. Okay, Cypher is excluded, so fortunately, so if not, it'll be too strong of an opener. But I think even if you want to play things like Cypher, you can still look to get like Bastion, where they'll give you a Galio, or maybe Rapid Fire, where you still get a Draven. Yeah, so I think it's still possible. They might exclude that if it becomes too strong, or they might remove it even. Nesting dolls spawn a silver orb that spawns a blue orb that spawns a gold orb. So basically, this will give a lot of rewards and loots. Opening encounters, to split or not to split. After every carousel, players choose to split or not. Okay, so this will just be after every carousel, there will be a mind game to play. Group investing. After every carousel, players choose to split a pot or increase it until the next turn. Okay. Reroll subscription. Start of each stage, gain free shop rerolls. 3 champions. Start the game with a 2-star, 2-cost champion, and every player gets a unique one. Okay, this is great, but I think if you continue with the video, you'll know that some of the 2-cost reroll comps are actually being nerfed. So this one may not be as useful, but of course it can give some direction at the start of the game. I think this is very funny because from patch 14.2, I remember they were saying that they want to reduce the amount of gold because as you know, if you've been playing the game, you know that it's been quite easy to get like your 3-star 4 cost and 3-star 3 cost because there are a lot of gold and resources available in this TFT set 14 right now. So it's funny that they are doing this because it will basically be reverting whatever they have done from patch 14.2. So moving on to trades, and power charges increased from 4 to 5 at 5 amp, and also for the HP gain for the amp units increased to 400 and 600 for 4 and 5 amp. So this is a huge buff, and I've actually already prepared a amp guide that I will be uploading tomorrow, so do keep a lookout for it. Along with this, there are actually many buffs made to amp units. So I personally think that amp will be a very strong comp and will be very played a lot this patch. Cypher, AD and AP will be increased after the Intel trade-in for 5 Cypher from 55% to 65%. while the intel per the combat loss will be lowered to 16 for stage 2 and increased to 24 and 28 for stage 4 and 5 respectively. So this one, I think it will likely be a buff to Cypher because when you are able to get like your 4 Cypher at stages 3 and 4, I think it will accelerate the intel stacks by a lot. I've also done a Cypher video that is actually coming up right after the M video 2 days later, so do keep a lookout for it as well. I've included a lot of my calculations, so I think it's quite a thorough guide that you can actually look to use and learn how to play Cypher. Dynamo, base mana regen reduced for 2 Dynamo. I think this is just to prevent any kind of splashes, like where you just throw in like your Aurora when you get it late game and then it will just work, right? So they probably want us to be playing a higher level of the Dynamo if you want it to work well, like your 4 Dynamo with Misfortune, Aurora, Jin, as well as your Morgana. Golden Ox base damage M reduced from 30% to 25% at 6 Golden Ox. So I think this is because Golden Ox is actually overperforming, where not in the sense of being top 4, but winning out the game, because it's quite similar to Conqueror last set, where actually the win rate was actually very high if you managed to snowball in the early game. But if I actually watch my Golden Ox guide, you typically do not need 6 Golden Ox to be playing this. You can still snowball very hard with 4 Golden Ox, because it will actually be better during the late game to actually put in higher cost units rather than to keep like your your Graves and your Alistair in, because they are actually weaker in lower cost units, right? So I think this may not actually affect Golden Ox win rate too much, but we'll see. For Street Demon, the base stats for 7 Street Demons actually increased, while it's decreased for 10 Street Demons from 50% to 45%. This is a bit funny. Okay, I personally haven't gotten 10 Street Demons, so I do not know. But for 7 Street Demons, it's actually quite strong now because of comps like Strategies Brand, and also like your Jinx Vanguard comp. Okay, maybe for Strategies M, a lot of people are actually playing 5 Street Demon right now and replacing the weaker units with higher cost units, so maybe that's why they're trying to buff it. I can understand that, but yeah, we'll see. So for Anima Squad, now counts total star level at the start of combat instead of surviving members for star level for the weapon damage. Rebalance the scaling and how they are affected by stage and star level. This is a nerf to all 1-star armies and above to all 2-star armies. Okay, so no wonder I feel that sometimes you either, when you're playing Anima Squad, either you are winning really hard and you don't really necessarily notice the weapon damage, or you are losing really hard and then you realize that when you're left with 1 or 2 units, why aren't the weapon doing any damage at all? So I think this is the reason there was a bug. But I'm surprised that there is no corresponding nerfs to the Anima Squad units other than the rebalancing of the scaling of the weapons. Because I feel that given that the bug is being fixed, I think Anima Squad might be a bit too strong right now, because even when I've been playing Anima Squad in patch 14.1 and 14.2 with this bug, I've been winning quite a lot of games. So I will still try it out. I'll probably try it out and see how it goes, and I'll upload the gameplay videos if it is very strong. For Exotech, Cyber Coil is being buffed because it's the most underused Exotech item. Armor MR increased from 55 to 65. Flux Capacitor, they increase the base AS and AD while reducing the percentage HP shock, which occurs every 4 hits, from 15 to 8%. Hollow Bow, as expected, is being nerfed. The base AP, however, is being increased 30%, likely for Varus to be using this, while the crit gain after cast, the crit chance, is reduced from 60% to 40%. This is to reduce the stacking that's being done right now, which makes Zeri very strong on this because she attacks so fast and she keeps casting such that the crit chance keeps stacking on and then it converts into crit damage, right? Any excess crit chance above 100% will convert into crit damage. So that's why she's very strong right now with Hollow Bow. Even with like a 1-star Zeri, you're losing to them in all your games. This is the reason why. So they also reduce, and they also remove the fact that the crit chance buff can be stacked, so it can no longer be done. I think it might be too hard of a nerf that they remove this stacking effect as well as reducing the crit chance gain, but we'll see. So I think they're just probably trying to push everyone to play Hollow Bow on Varus instead, and the flux capacitor to play on Zeri. So try not to be playing Hollowball and Zeri anymore, even though it was a good time to be spamming it to gain your LP, I know. Yeah. So on to champions for the one cost champion. So Alastair has been, also you can see that there's actually many buffs. One to Alastair, flat damage reduction and spell damage. Mundo buff for the spell HP, spell heal HP, spell damage, AD percentage, and HP percentage. Your Cogmore, spell damage, AD percentage increased by a bit. Morgana, spell damage increased by quite a lot, but because it is correspondingly increased on the spell duration, the DPS actually increased by about 3 out of 22, which is about 15%, right? So Zyra is also increased her spell damage and secondary damage. So this is a lot of buffs on one cost. Not too sure if this brings back some one cost reroll comps. We'll see. I'm sure many people will be trying to try out the Morgana reroll for sure, because from last set, Morgana reroll was a huge thing and it was very strong. This one is slightly different because her damage is split between 2 targets rather than 1 like last set. But at the same time, this also means that you can get to the backline faster. So you can definitely try Morgana reroll with Divinity Corp. I'll probably be trying to, and if it works, I'll be showing to you guys. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, maybe you can be playing also like Dr. Mundo with Alastair reroll. Since he's a Slayer, you can reroll like your Shaco together, and later on bring in your Jarvan, right, for Golden Ox and Slayer. Maybe you can do that. Yeah. Okay, no changes to Shaco. That's a good thing. So you can still try that reroll. Poppy, her mana reduced from 70 to 65. So I do think that Poppy is already in the good spot because of Cyberboss and Bastion. But from Modoc's video, he's been saying that if you actually get a build but Poppy is actually a very bad thing. But that's not true because we did do quite well. I believe I got second when I got a build but Poppy into a Cyberboss Vega reroll. Yeah. So we'll see. It might be too strong, but for now, I think it should be fine. For two cost champions, generally a nerf across the board. So for Jin, a reduction to the starting mana, so you cast slower and then do slightly less spell damage on the bounces. For Bing, it's a reduction of the mana, starting mana, as well as an increase to the mana needed to cast a skill. So this will slow down her stacking on her Guinsoo Rage Blade. But I think this may not affect her that much. But of course, every nerf counts, right? Yeah. For Twisted Fate, it's a huge nerf. It's a 25% nerf on his AP per auto, because you know that the standard build for Twisted Fate is like 2 Guinsoos and 1 Gunblade, so that he can get to the very high AP very fast due to autoing. And then the Gunblade will actually heal everybody and then keep everybody alive. That this comp is unkillable. But because of this nerf, I think it's a huge nerf, and we probably have to think about how to play this right now. Maybe either not putting the head on him, or only playing when it's a 7 syndicate or as a transition tempo towards misfortune. Yeah. So the 7 syndicate now only throws a red and blue card instead of all 3. So there's also like a 33% reduction in damage. So it's a huge nerf, because I believe 7 syndicate has been doing too well even after the multiple nerfs being given. Vega, there's a slight nerf, which I don't think it will affect the Cyberboss Vega reroll too much. For the 3 costs, for Braum, there's a buff to the head bonus damage armor. So I think this probably won't incentivize us too much to try to 3-star him, because it's just the increase on the head bonus damage armor. And furthermore, I think because it's focused on armor, and I think Zeri comps are probably going to fall out of favor, he might not be so needed in this meta, this patch right now. For Jarvan, they are just reverting the buffs to dispel AD. The other things to his kit, like his shielding and his base AD gain from the previous patch, is still there. So it's a slight nerf. But together with the Vayne nerfs, I believe that the currently very dominant Vayne reroll comp might not be as good as such that will give you just a free top 4 that you usually do for me. Yeah. So for Yuumi, another M buff. So across the board, buffs to her spell damage, secondary damage, as well as the mark damage, which is the stacking damage on people who have already been marked. So I think this one, if you follow my guide for M tomorrow, you'll know that I will be encouraging everyone to be playing reroll Yuumi for M, as I believe that you'll be very strong right now. Especially now that I think about it, with the Animal Squad buffs as well to the weapon damage, I probably think that it will be even stronger than expected. For Gregor's got buffed, so it will be faster for him to cast so that he'll be more tanky. So this will be a buff to Chuck Buck, and somehow it will be a buff to VEXOTECH comp because he is one of the main tanks for that comp. So we'll see. For Rengar, he is a further nerf to 750 HP, but I think this is very uncalled for because for now I think Rengar is a bit not as strong as before for sure. But the comp that's helping him to still win out when you get 3-star Rengar is having 3-star Jinx and the 7 Street Demons. So I'm surprised that there's no nerf to Jinx. On to 4 cores. Buffs against across the board. So for Aphelios, there's a reduction to 50 mana and increase of the number of Chakram autos and increase the Chakram AD percentage. So this is a buff to him. I think this is much needed because you've actually seen one of my videos where I played Aphelios together with, I believe, Animal Squad or something. I 3-starred my Aphelios, but somehow, somewhat, he was almost losing to a Cyberboss strategies bot with Ziggs and the Vega. So fortunately, we still won out, but he definitely needed some buffs, especially at 3-star and also in general. Yeah, he's a bit underused right now, even with the Golden Ox. So people tend to be using Annie as a carry rather than Aphelios. For Cho'Gath, he got buffs to his like spell damage as well as his casting. So this one might be a bit hard for Riot to balance. We will see how maybe this small buff will like make him too strong again and then they'll be nerfing him. But if he is strong in this patch, do use him more often because I believe he's quite underused right now as a bruiser, as a frontline. So this is the Vex buff that everyone has been talking about and posting on the online post. So it's an increase from 150 to 180% for her overhealing conversion. So when she overheals beyond her full health, it converts some of the damage into true damage that will help her to deal a lot more damage, basically. So it might not seem like a huge thing, but she's currently winning out a lot of games. So this how much 20% buff is actually quite a lot, along with like just now the Gregor's tank buff. Xayah, her base AD got increased by 5. So I think this one may make Animal Squad too strong. We will see. But I think it's definitely easier to be playing your Marksman and Vanguard comp right now because I believe that recently not many people have been playing because it's slightly weak compared to comps like Vayne reroll with your Vanguard or your VEXOTECH comp or other comps. Yeah, so I think this one will help your Marksman comp to make a bit of a comeback. Annie got buffed for 1-star and 2-star, so this is basically another amp buff because this is a buff to her mini fireball damage, which increases with amp charges. So definitely keep a lookout for amp and definitely try to play. Brem got nerfed. Okay, I don't have much comments for this. I think he can be strong in certain places, like when you play your 7 Street Demons. And from what we see, 7 Street Demons got buffed. So this one might just be to balance him out a bit. Yeah, so I think that's fine. 45 cost champions. Aurora got nerfed, so quite hard. The numbers got nerfed by about 20%. So for those who are actually looking to be playing Morgana reroll, I think you might want to reconsider as well because since Aurora got nerfed, it might not cap out too high when you reach 4 Dynamo at endgame as compared to like last patch where you actually reach your Malzahar. He's actually like a very strong unit that can actually one-shot your backline with his damage over time. But it might not be the same for Aurora. Depends on how strong she can remain. So this one we will see. For Urgot, he got buffed for his like casting his 5 seconds state earlier, as well as increase to his AD and his spell missile AD when he actually casts his attacks during that 5 seconds of his spell. Samira got another 5 AD increase, so this one is actually a 10 AD increase from the mid-patch nerf until now. So also she's also an M unit, so needless to say, I do not want to say again, M is being buffed, play M for sure. Yeah, she might not be like the main carry of that comp because it's going to be Yuumi, but I believe that every bit of buff to that comp will make a difference, and also to Street Demons itself, given that 7 Street Demons was also buffed. Vigo, the strongest 5 cost of the last few patches has been nerfed. Nerfs to his healing upon enemy kills as well as to his spell damage. But I think his utility is still there because he has innate magic resistance as well as the damage reduction from the techie trait. So definitely still look to play him even though it's a small buff. I believe he's still very useful together with like Golden Ox as well. Oh, moving on to Kobuko. So Kobuko has a total rework, or not total, some rework to his spell. He got a buff to his attack speed, but for his passive, he now deals bonus magic damage and 50% in a 1 hex radius if it's a cyber boss. So before that, the cyber boss buff actually changes his hex, the range of his stun, but now it's to his attack. At 50% HP, he triggers phase 2, which enrages him for the rest of the fight, gaining 100% attack speed, 30% Omnivamp, and increasing the bonus damage by 33%. This is actually quite a huge buff. So we are looking to trigger this phase 2 and then maybe like increase his attack speed so that it can keep itself alive with like Omnivamp items. So definitely a bruiser build compared to like a tank build for Kobuko. For phase 2, he will then gain a shield for 4 seconds and pick up the nearby enemies and knock them up and slam them down and stunning them and dealing damage to all of them. However, this one will only happen once right now because it only happen when at 50% HP where he triggers his phase 2. Instead of like last time where actually he can actually do multiple casts of his stun and it was actually very difficult to deal with. So there will be no more mana buff for him, so do not bother equipping him with like a Protector's Vow either. Yeah. So I actually did 5 cost units video explaining how to use some of the 5 cost units, but I actually only did 4 of them instead of all 8, precisely because I knew that the Kobuko changes were coming. So I will actually be doing a part 2 in probably the next patch after making sure that there's no more changes to Kobuko. Yeah, we'll never know. So if it's too strong, they may actually change it again or do some nerfs to it. Moving on to the augments, the silver augment, the button mesh Poppy hero augment got buffed because Riot thinks that Poppy is underperforming, which I don't necessarily think so, but yeah. Personally, I've not tried this before, so you can still look to try it. Nerfs to I409, I409 Plus, Glass Cannon, as it was too strong for a silver augment compared to its Glass Cannon 2 gold augment equivalent. Brick Shot, they decrease some of the rerolls, but it's still a very useful augment, especially when you play 3-cost rerolls like Yuumi. So maybe this is in anticipation that Yuumi reroll will become a huge thing. For the gold augments, Chuck Bug got buffed. So together with the buffs to like some of the Divinity Corp units like Vex, like Morgana, and Gragas himself, you can actually look to be playing this if you actually get the augment. I believe it will be stronger right now. Maybe much stronger, we'll see. Crown's Will got nerfed. Cut Purse no longer appears on 2-1. This was the main augment that helped to give you Rengar for sure, along with Graves to start your Executioner's comp. Given that it no longer appears on 2-1, there's no point taking it anymore unless like you really need the last copy of Rengar or Graves to 3-star them, but it's not worth it. Yeah, because your win out no longer depends on the 3-star Rengar, but on 3-star Jinx instead with a 7 Street Demons comp. Cyber Deck is further nerfed to 1 item. So initially it was 3 items, it was nerfed to 2, and now it's 1. I think they probably might be removing this because I don't think anyone will want to take this Cyber Deck gold augment for just one ideal exotech item. It's just not worth it now because some of the exotech items are not even overpowered anymore, like your Flux Capacitor from the first patch or like your Hollow Bow from 14.2. So there's no point in taking this anymore. Glass Cannon 2, as mentioned, is being buffed because it is too weak for the gold augment as compared to its silver counterpart. High score, later breakpoints increase, so this will be harder to get like your Kobuko plus your Ziggs cash out from high score. Item Collector nerf, reinforcing Skylicher for the bruisers. This is a bruiser specific augment, it got buffed. Shaded Spellweaver, Omnivamp got decreased while the max shield got increased to 500. Spear's Will, your starting mana reduced to 5. Spirit Link now only works on champions, so this is to prevent cheese comps like your Spirit Link, Dumbify or Golemify with like a lot of HP and it's like impossible to kill them. Trade Tracker, emblems granted will now be 5 instead of 6. Trial Run, this is the Exotech specific augment where it gives you the Golem. The bonus HP and AD are removed. Vampiric Vitality, the HP healed from damage is reduced to 12%. For prismatic augments, coronation is a bit too strong, it got nerfed, but you'll still be taking it because the utility lies in having one more unit on your board. Cybernetic Uplink 3, HP is decreased to 180 and mana per second decreased by a bit. Endless Hordes Plus, this is a black market augments where you actually get 3 more units on your board. There's a HP reduction initially of 20%, but now it's been buffed to only 12%. Yeah, so I think I actually fought some of the Endless Hordes comp and it's not very strong. So it wasn't that worthy to pick it for the extra 3 units when the HP reduction was so much. So I think they buffed it a bit. Future Sight, the dummies no longer gain HP. So the dummies, when you get it from Future Sight that holds the like your uh, Zephyr, they will actually gain HP with stage, right? So you'll become like a bronze and become like a silver dummy and then a gold dummy. So it no longer gains HP, you always stay as a bronze dummy now. But it is still a very strong augment because the utility, as mentioned, is not in the dummy itself, it's in knowing who you're fighting and to position your Zephyr against their main carry. Yeah. Hall of Mirrors got disabled because there were too many bugs. Lucky Gloves no longer gives a third glove as well as the Lucky Gloves Plus. So they only give one set of your Thieves Gloves right now. So it's not so good of an augment right now because you can't just get another glove and then form 2 sets of Thieves Gloves for better value of this augment. So only look to take this if you already have like 1 or 2 Thieves Gloves already formed. Subscription service got increased for the gold given per stage. So now bug fixes, you can read it yourself. I think nothing important. Yeah, I believe there's nothing important other than the fact that Miss Fortune was like aiming at nobody, aiming her skill at nobody. Yeah. So that's it for the patch rundown. You're actually awesome if you have reached the end of this guide. I hope you've learned something from this video. If you find this video useful, I greatly appreciate if you can like the video and subscribe to my channel for more guides and gameplay videos. See you again. Bye bye.